mind of one misguided Athenian sculptor, is regarded as potentially the ancient world's most brutal torture device. Want to learn more about the Brazen Bull? Stay tuned. Welcome to Creepycassettiyt, your place for horror and reality and beyond. I'm your host Dee, and if you're interested in more videos about the macabre, the mysterious, the horrifying, click the like button. Please subscribe for more. Check off that notification bell, choose all notifications so you never miss our chats. The Brazen Bull was an invention commissioned by the tyrannical despot Phalaris in 500 BC, Rome, ruler of the metropolis previously known as Acragas, and in modern times is now known as Agrigento, Sicily. Phalaris was known to rule with an iron fist, a monster of a man known to take down anyone who defied him, and he had the horrifying distinction of being known for eating babies. But as is natural for the duality of humans, he wasn't all bad. He brought prosperity to his people by fortifying the walls of the city, bringing clean water to the people, building many beautiful buildings, and expanding the territory. The people in the nearby city of Himera even voted him general with absolute power, which is a terrible idea to give anybody the title of, but whatever, it's your ancient funeral pyre. Well, the Phalaris equivalent of Mr. Hyde commissioned a new weapon of torture. A renowned sculptor by the name of Perillus jumped at the challenge. The monstrosity brought forth from the sculptor's mind was that of a bull made of gleaming brass, true to size and therefore large enough to encapsulate a human. Affixed to the head of the beast were pipes and whistles. Those pipes and whistles were activated by the agonizing screams of the person within, giving off sounds like the bellowing of a real bull. A fire would be lit beneath the vessel, slowly roasting the victim like a rotisserie chicken. Clouds billowing from the bull would emit spicy incense smell, which would offset the smell of burning flesh. Meanwhile, the bull's victims would be dealing with their muscles falling off, entire organs, including the skin, burning until they completely escape the bone. The death could be prolonged and left increasingly uncomfortable by stoking the fire and allowing it to die down. That's dark as hell. Artists are usually lovers. The fact that this thing came from the mind of one is... What makes me even more uncomfortable is that Perillus marketed the device as a more humane way to execute someone. How? I don't know about you, but the idea of third-degree burns covering my entire body and being left in a stuffy, exceedingly hot and claustrophobic space, it's giving hell. Perillus allegedly sold the idea of this invention to Phalaris by saying, "His screams will come to you through the pipes as the tenderest, most pathetic, most melodious of bellows." Perillus thought this clever device would bring him a reward or some level of glory from the ruler. However, apparently you couldn't call ancient people out on their bullshit either, no pun intended. Instead of rewarding the sculptor, even Phalaris was disgusted by the sculptor's words. Therefore, Perillus became the bull's first victim and test subject. He was coaxed inside the brass beast and set to roast by Phalaris' soldiers. Two stories of how Perillus officially met his end have been documented. One says that the sculptor was left cooking until his bitter end. The other says that Phalaris had the man removed and thrown off a cliff. If Phalaris went about doing the second one, who knows why? Maybe that was his sick way of showing some mercy? The tyrant continued using the Brazen Bull to execute criminals and political opponents throughout his reign. Legend has it he used the shiny bones left over by the bull's victims to wear as a bracelet. I don't know how baking a human could result in ultra shiny bones, but that sounds pretty unlikely to me. Science buffs and funerary science majors, hit me up in the comments below. Correct me if I'm wrong. Your girl's on a mission for knowledge. History suggests Phalaris would have tasted the bull's torture chamber when he was eventually overthrown by Telemachus. The bull and replicas of the device continued to be used by numerous emperors throughout the Roman Empire. It was a popular means to execute early Christians. Notable deaths contributed to the device. In AD 92, Emperor Domitian sentenced Saint Antipas of Pergamum to the bull for casting out demons. In 118 AD, Emperor Hadrian had Saint Eustace, his general, executed for refusing to make a sacrifice to the gods. Not only was Saint Eustace martyred, but his wife and children were also executed by the bull. In AD 287, Emperor Diocletian had Pelagia of Tarsus burned for refusing to marry him. Talk about overboard. The Brazen Bull's existence is debated by historical scholars. There's no physical evidence remaining to confirm that the bovine-shaped oven ever existed. The first person to mention the bull was poet and philosopher Diodorus Siculus in the book Bibliotheca Historica, written in 60 to 30 BC, whereas Perillus and Phalaris had their little incident between 570 and 540 BC. And if those dates sound strange to anyone, I totally get it. It took me a little bit to realize that BC goes down as the years go by rather than up. Therefore, 60 BC is closer in time to us than 570 BC would have been. It's weird and confusing. Cicero used the bull as a metaphor to describe the brutality of Phalaris the tyrant. As I was saying, no physical evidence of the device remains. There's also not much, if any, evidence that suggests that Perillus himself even existed. There are multiple writings that exist where the bull was used as a mean for torture for Christians and other individuals throughout centuries. Some scholars say that it's based on a real device, while others call it a matter of fiction. My thing is, even if it's not real, someone had to come up with this terrible faux torture method, and the fact that human minds could conjure such an idea is appalling and frightening in so many freaking ways. So that's it. All the info I found relevant to the Brazen Bull. Let me know in the comments below if there's any facts about the device that I missed. Share them with our little community and stay tuned for the next video. Bye!